Evening, this is Johnny. This is my analysis of Bitcoin. It is Wednesday, March 11th, and what we can see here is if you draw lines, if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see a giant pennant forming, right? So we've got a touch point right here, and it looks like a fake breakout right here. You can draw the bottom support right here. You can see it's pretty much following it pretty closely. If we zoom in a little bit, it's really hugging this line, so this is pretty good support. Now the question is, what's going to happen next? It's reached the end of the pennant. And if you do standard or traditional chart analysis, I've got some lines I already drew, but if we go from July 1st of 19, if this is the point where you want to take that pattern, if you want to draw that line, if you consider this where the triangle started, in traditional chart pattern analysis, you take this line that you draw from the top line to the bottom line, and you drag it to where it either enters or exits the triangle. Now, if it actually exited, well, if it continued on its path out of the triangle, it would have theoretically reached this point right here, which is about 14,600. But it didn't do that. It had a fake breakout. So what we can do is we can move that to where it exited the triangle. And if we look at where it could potentially be, we get a price of 1,729, which is low. But the question is, what's it going to do? What is it going to do? So if we go to lower time frame, the daily time frame, let me just hide these real quick. If we go to the daily time frame, let me add a few more lines. Let me hide these. And let me just, okay. This is a pattern I saw. So we add a rising wedge. Now rising wedges tend to be bearish, right? And again, you use the same methodology. You draw a line from the top resistance to the bottom, the top line to the bottom line. When you think the pattern's forming, I thought it started right around here, December 19th. And if you take it to where it exited, you can see that it wicked, or the Bitcoin price wicked pretty much exactly to this price level. About, if we look at this particular candle, it's $7,310. So this worked out pretty well. This rising wedge worked out pretty well. So let's get rid of this. And if you use the standard, Wyckoff leg methodology, you've got an impulse move here, you've got a flag here, and if you take that leg and you put it and you just move it, there you can see that it also reached down to that point of about $7,300. Okay, so let's hide these. What you can also see is it looks like there's a head and shoulders forming on the daily as well. That's left shoulder, here's the head, and we potentially have the right shoulder coming in right here. And if we draw, if you use this wick, this is a pretty significant wick right here. Now, do you use that? I don't know. I'm still pretty new to all of this, but I'm going to use it because it seems to draw a horizontal line. It seems to match this. There seems to be some resistance there, so I'm going to draw that. Now, hopefully, if this is head and shoulders, then this is as far as down it'll go. You'll start to see it move upwards. And then, again, using traditional chart analysis, draw a line from the resistance to the bottom of the pattern, and you drag it over to the exit. And that gives us a target of about $14,500. But that's all theoretical at this point. So what's going to give us some clues as to what's going to happen next? Well, you can use RSI. I like using RSI. As you can see, I've drawn a yellow trend line here at the bottom on the daily. And it seems to be hitting 0.1, 0.2. And if we go down here, it hasn't hit it yet, but if it doesn't drop below and it bounces off this yellow support line, this yellow trend line, and it starts to go up, I think that would be a pretty good indication that this red shoulder is forming. But you know, we don't know. And another way this could play out, if it's not a head and shoulders, I'll delete that. Is, let me bring up the other lines I drew. You have a broadening wedge, and I drew this on the 4 hour, I think. No, or the weekly. Okay, yeah, I drew this on the weekly. So with a broadening wedge, you've got to hit the points up here. You got to hit points on the upper line and the lower line. So we've got 2 points, or 2 points down here, 2 or 3 points down here, and just about 2 points here. We need to make contact one more time up here. Now the question is, do we come down all the way to this bottom line right here? Right? Or do, it seems like that would happen, because if it just, if this yeah, I can't erase it for some reason. Oops. If this price, if the price action just stopped right there, that wouldn't really fill out the pattern very well. So I think it's possible we come down here, and that is 4,122, which kind of makes sense, because if you look right here, there seems to be some slight, there seems to be some activity here. If you look at this section right here, you might be able to draw a support line, but I don't think that's likely, since it doesn't seem to be major support. Now, if we draw a support line based on this activity right here, there seems to be a lot of activity there, so I think that makes more sense. So I think we could come all the way down, yeah, there, 4,122. So either way, you gotta wait for it to play out. And if we look at the RSI on the weekly, It also seems like it might hold based on this trend line. You've got higher lows, but if you look up here, we've got lower highs. So this could continue to be, if this drops down, if the RSI drops down below this trend line, and we have a lower high, then it's probably a downtrend. And I would say that we reach this point right around here, about 4,122. And if it breaks down below that, I've drawn a fib extension based on this point right here. Let me go back to the daily. This point right here, and this is the second point, and I guess I'm considering this is the end of wave 2, if that makes any sense, if you're using it like Elliott wave. Now, if this Brownian wedge falls below this point, let's say it goes down, where is it going to stop? It could potentially stop right here at 1,599. And yeah, that wouldn't be good. But I definitely think that should be a possibility. Now, if we're moving in that direction, I think you would see major resistance at 6,550, since there seems to be some a lot of activity there. So that's that 0.618 level seems to be a major support line. But if we drop below that, 4,075 would be your next support. And if we drop below that, you know, Bitcoin seems to respect the fib levels. You could potentially hit all the way down at the 1.382. So, how am I going to play this? Well, again, I want to see this, see if this head and shoulders plays out. And I gotta wait. And I'm gonna use, whoops. I'm gonna use RSI to see if it drops below this daily, and if it does, I'm gonna aim for those lower support levels. And if it bounces off this yellow support line, I might play it, and I'm gonna play it to or I might take a position starting around 10,555 if it truly is head and shoulders. So let's see.